A person who centers their thoughts upon the world, and the things will live for the world and its things. I'm going to say that again. A person who centers their thoughts upon the world and its things of the world live for the world and the things of the world. So some of the things of the world, what's one of the main, I'm going to let you talk. What is one of the main things of the world that people center their thoughts on? Did both of y'all say that at the same time? So both of them said Trump. Okay. So we worried about political stuff. Why are we worried about political stuff? Like, that is not even going to take up 10% of my brain. Like, what else in the world did we think of that our minds are caught up on? Money. We know that's the number one thing. We're not saying that money is bad. But when you put money before God and money is your driving force for everything you do, that's all your thought, that's always what you're thinking about, then there's a problem. So I heard somebody say children. Children are a blessing from God, but we cannot put our children before God. Our children cannot take up so much of our thoughts and so much of our mind that we don't even spend time with God. Because your children will have you to have anxiety and stress. Trying to do things. You can't control your children. You think you can, but you can't. You try to. You try to influence, you try to encourage them, but you really can't control them. I'm learning that out with a 4- and 5-year-old. I can't really control her. I can influence her. I can train her. I can encourage her. I can tell her what is the protocol in the house and things like that. But I can't control her because she can do what she wants to do, really. There'll be consequences to it, but you can't control them. You can't control your children. You think you can, but you really can't. What else are the things of the world that we think about a lot? Your spouse. What'd you say, your parents? Your health, yes. So we worry about these things of the world, money, wealth. We worry about lands and property, houses, possessions, positions. Got to have a certain position in life, in the community, on your job, in the church. Recognition. We worry about recognition. Oh, nobody didn't like my Instagram post. Nobody didn't like my Facebook post. You know, it's people who actually post stuff just to see how many likes they got, to see who's paying attention to them. If that's you, just raise your eyebrows. Just. People do that. Worry about their social status. And then if it doesn't happen in the way that they do, then they have anxiety, then they have stress. A person who centers their thoughts upon the flesh and its lust of the flesh will give to satisfy, will live to satisfy the flesh. If your mind is always thinking on fleshly things, you're going to start to live to satisfy the lust of your minds. Such things as pride, greed, pleasure, sex. If you always thinking about sex and you ain't married, you always thinking about that, you're going to start to live out what you thinking about. So when you wake up in the morning, you're not just going to the grocery store to go get some bread and some cheese. You on a hunt. Am I talking to real people? Because that's what your mind is thinking about. That's what your thoughts are. It's the flesh. It's your human being. It's your body. That's why you have to take control of your flesh. A person who centers their thoughts upon the eyes and its lust will satisfy his eyes and his lust. Your eyes are important. And our eyes get us in trouble. We see something new, we want to have something new. If Billy got it, I want it. They went on a trip, I want to go on a trip. They got lawn doctor to come get their grass nice and green, I want lawn doctor to come get their grass nice and green. Our eyes, our lust of our eyes can have us doing things that we should not be doing. Immoral things. Having us looking at things we should not be looking at. Immoral films, books, watching TV shows, social media sites. Our eyes, because we want to satisfy the lust of our eyes because of what we thinking. Are y'all with me? Living to satisfy the eyes and its lust will have an individual doing some crazy things. Dressing to attract attention. Lust of the eyes. Men looking a second time. Notice I said a second time. Because you look. Don't act like you don't look. You could be walking down the street, and whatever you are attracted to, you see it a million miles away. Women, I'm talking to you too. If you are attracted to biceps, you can spot a man in the mall 5 stores down in his biceps. Men, if you're attracted to women with curves, you can spot her 5 blocks away. So you automatically see them. You can't help it, you walk by them. So you walk like this. You can't do this. That's when the lust of the eyes kick in. Men and women. That's that we have to control our flesh. Come on, let me keep going. A person who centers their thoughts upon the pride of life will live to satisfy desire for recognition, for honor, for position, for authority. Why? Because they have pride. They need to be recognized. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing such a great job. Pat me on my back. Recognize me. Give me some likes on my social media because I'm doing a good job. That's pride. That's what's in our minds. A mind that is set upon the world and the flesh is what leads to anxiety and worry. I'm going to say that again. A mind that is set upon the world and the flesh is what leads to anxiety and worry. It leads to emptiness and restlessness because you see something that you want, something of the world that you want, and you don't stop until you get it. So you work 1,000,000 hours of overtime, stressing, trying to get some worldly possessions. Then you get stressful, then you have anxiety because you want it and you don't get enough overtime and you're working more hours and now your health is kicking in. A worldly mind never knows peace. If you have a worldly mind and worldly thoughts, you will never know peace. Not true peace. Not the true peace of God. But, somebody say but. But when a person accepts Jesus Christ, the Bible says what? Their mind is renewed. Their mind is renewed by the Spirit of God. Romans 12:2 says this. What? Do not conform to this world, but what? Be ye transformed, what? By the renewing of your mind. The Lord He knows we human beings. He knows how our minds are. He knows we get tempted with the world and the eyes and things. But He tells us once we give our life to Christ, He tells us to renew our minds because that is the key. that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. So we have to renew our minds. If we have anxiety, if we have stress, we must pray and we must renew our minds by the Spirit of God.